This meditation or this journey should be part-time. So that, once it is a part-time, and then we start thinking that it should cover my entire life. Yeah, it is possible, we have a part-time job and we can manage our food 3 times and we can pay the rent. So, unless that perception changes, we have yet to become a seeker. So, let us bring the unconscious operation of the nature at the conscious level to be in the state of meditation all the time. Understanding is required in Saturday's session. This is what our master says. And I'm expressing what the master has written. Yeah, well, if you study this text like a fiction, then you already know what is going to happen. So, what we want from the mind and what prevents me to get is also the mind. We are picking up an important topic. Yesterday, I was watching filthy riches. So, there people were catching worms. And you'll be surprised, this master has referred the worms. In what context? So I said, oh, let me take up that topic. So when all experiences takes place in the mind, then what we want and what prevents me also coming from the mind. I love you, honey, from the mind. I'm scared of you, honey, mind. I like pasta, mind. I hate pasta, both are from the mind. And we miss this part. I would say 99.9% we miss this part. Whatever I like, I want to come nearer to it. And what I don't like, I want to throw it. From where the fear is experienced in the mind, I don't want fear. Frustration, I don't want. Unhappiness, I don't want. I want pleasure, yes, I want pleasure. You, I like you, so okay, you are allowed to come near to me. Mind is repeating the same thought again and again, same action again and again. That is the problem of our human mind. Expecting a different result, not possible. I like one and I hate one. Both belongs to the mind. So the mind is not changed. How can I succeed? Huh? I believe you're getting it. It is because of this the master emphasizes satasangatve nisasangatvam. Constant listening and learning and contemplation and practice. It is not a one-day affair. That results into dispassion. Dispassion results into removing the delusion, and I have repeated many a times, and you already know that. But still, I'm repeating. And removing the delusion results into steadiness of the mind. And there is a natural state of steadiness that results in awakening. We also understood that what it means. It simply means we want a pure mind to do the discovery. Pure mind, not with reference to anyone outside. Your reference point is you. I may be extremely honest, with reference to you, family, people, but still there may be a manipulation going on inside the mind. Did you understand that point? No, I don't want to go it. We want a pure mind to do the discovery, no bias, no emotional dependence, no delusion, no distraction. That is the pure mind. No emotional dependence. How can I pay you? Our observation is that one consciousness is present in waking, dreaming, and the sleeping state. I am not a waker. I am not a sleeper. I am not a dreamer. I'm helping you to recall. From there, we started the journey. Object of suffering. I talked about, I discussed. Sam was asking, oh, did your master really met Bill Gates? It was a good question. Yes, he met. Object of suffering. There is no object of suffering, so there is no subject of suffering. That is what we understood. That I hold back. I'm coming to those filthy riches, I'm just preparing a background. So, object of suffering, as long as my mind perceives that anyone, anything in the world, any action, any thought is an object of suffering, I become subject of suffering. And that is ignorance. Anesthesia, that is ego. Who says that? Who says that you are object of suffering? And who says I am suffering? It is ego. Loveless feeling, unhappiness, dissatisfaction, insecurity, thought and the feelings are subjective because of objective thought. I'm living a loveless life. Who told you to live a loveless life? Better continue to live. You are a good guy. At least you will not disturb anyone. Unhappiness. So the moment I'm unhappy, because I'm living a loveless life, because I'm lonely, because we use this 99.9% in our life. We have no chance to use it in deep sleep, so we don't use it. Pay attention. It is only the understanding is required, we can live into that state of permanent peace and happiness. We want happiness everywhere. Means what? I should be present. We want happiness at all the time. I should be present. Can the ego be present? So it means that ego, which I claim as I, cannot be present everywhere, cannot be present all the time, cannot be present with everyone. So that real self, that I is different. That is different. We want happiness to be closest and nearest to me. But the ego depends on the body, the mind, intellect. So it means that ego cannot find happiness at all. I also want happiness without any effort, without any action. That is why we say that happiness is I am. Are you getting? That happiness is I am. That love is I am. That truth is I am. That is what the real self is. Now just introduce a thought. I am attached. Ego has come. I have a desire for any object. To be happy, ego has come. And the moment I desire, this mind is divided. It is seeking a pleasure. It creates an object of either the pleasure or it creates an object of sadness. And we also understood, I'm repeating it again, that this real self is the like a sweetness of a sugar. You add sugar into the water, it becomes sweet. Add more, it becomes little more sweet. But if you want to increase the sweetness of a sugar by adding more sugar, not possible. Then we are crazy. The mind should stop there. You know what we say? The buck should stop there. Yes. The buck should stop there. My mind should stop there. No, I'm the real self. Oh, big piece is there. Buck should stop there. No more adding sugar. But the ego manipulates and it adds sugar in many ways. And we are gone. I'm introducing a lot of principles. But yeah, then now coming to the verse, the master explains this verse. So we are going to understand it clearly here and now. And once you understand, then it will take a couple of weeks, and otherwise, then the life changes completely. Take one example. I like pasta, so I go to a restaurant. Going to the restaurant is an action. Action is different from enjoying, eating. That is second action. Do you see? One action, second action. I perform an action to enjoy pasta, then again enjoy performing more actions. It makes habit in the mind to seek more pleasures. I repeat eating pasta to get more pleasure. And what happens? Then I see the pleasure starts reducing until the time comes all pleasures are gone from the pasta. Who enjoys? Who enjoys? It is my subtle body. Now you all understand the mind and memory, intellect and ego, they all enjoy depending on the physical body coming from the causal body. Is it confusing? No. We are of the nature, we have three bodies: physical body, subtle body, causal body is like the seed impressions. So that repetition continues. The repetition continues deeper inside the causal body, and that triggers your subtle body, and that motivates your physical body to act to eat pasta. Here, in this example, the master praises. Now, you see that we have been criticizing the physical body, subtle body, and causal body, isn't it? So now the master says criticism does only means that we want to know what is the fact and the truth. You are not the body, then commit suicide. That is not the case. Do you see that? So now see, in order to understand, it's not very subtle. So all the three bodies are constantly at work. They create a cycle, and that cycle is known as the cycle of birth and the death. Now compare the human frame with the three bodies with the plants. The plants only respond. I'm bringing a lot of stuff. Plants only respond. Animals only act. The animals act. Tiger sees the prey and he catches the prey. He sees the mango tree. He said, okay, not interested. But the human mind, we work. What I said, plants only respond. Animals act habitually. We work. Oh, mango is also good, and the prey is also good. Chicken is also good. Why it is happening? Because of the three bodies. These three bodies are fully developed in the human being. Means our level of evolution, our level of awareness is much higher as compared to the animals and the plants. If these three bodies are not developed fully, we cannot recognize. Mango is also good and chicken is also good. This beer guy is also good, and go to somebody else, that is also good. It is because we possess all the three bodies. Pay attention. It is because we possess all the three bodies, that is why we can remove the ignorance. No animals, no plants, no living being can remove the ignorance. Can you communicate with the COVID virus? Why you are creating problem for the humanity? They don't possess three bodies. COVID virus said, I entered into you, but I don't know the rest of the things. When someone approaches me, so I will enter there also. They forget the previous impression, starting from amoeba to plants to animals. Not very difficult to understand. I'm just coming to that verse slowly. Only we can remove the ignorance. We means the human being. We are not claiming we are superior. It is by default. It is the process of evolution. No scientist has created the human body. No scientist has created any living being. So it's already a process of evolution. We can witness that we are evolving. We understand that the three bodies are working. Life evolved from the matter. Animal mind evolved from the life. The human intellect evolved from the animal life. The process of evolution is continuing. We are still evolving, isn't it a fact? Are we evolving because of the scientific discoveries or the scientists? Evolving by default. It's a nature's process. We will take millions of years to awaken to our true nature if we leave our life to the nature. That is the symbolic expression that we undergo many cycles of birth and the death. It took millions of years to create a life from the matter. It took another billions of years to create an animals from the life. We see that. That is what the science says. So we also agree to that. You are right. So now we are evolving, but we are suffering because we do not understand clearly these three bodies. Hence, yoga comes, meditation comes, mindfulness comes, Eastern wisdom comes. Eastern wisdom simply says you can hasten, accelerate this process of evolution once you understand clearly. No, no, I did not understand. Mind says you are an object of sadness, drop it. You hasten the process of evolution. Are you getting it? Are you 100% honest to your mind? It will happen here and now, today. Why honesty? Because if there is no honesty, the ego comes. I'm not talking of the other honesty, whether you're filing taxes to the filing the tax return. I'm not talking of that. Honesty inside. 100% honesty. That is why I want to repeat Swami Vivekananda, the great master, says yoga or meditation is the process of compressing one's evolution in a single year or few months or few hours of earthly existence. So when he uses the earthly existence, three bodies, you are there. With these three bodies, when we claim that we are worthy of suffering or pleasure, we are running for pleasure hunting in the world, and we want to remove that suffering. This is what is happening all the time, 24 by 7. That is why we have to meditate and enter into the highest state of mindfulness. Now, see in a very simple language. Huh? Now, we are approaching this verse the way he has written the verse and referred the worms. The way the worms lives their life, we are not more than the worms. He hits our. He is doing it. No, I'm not saying that we all are worms. He is saying. So don't get upset. How dare you say that I am a worm? So first understand the very process. The senses are one-sided windows. They cannot run inside. They always run outside. It is a part of the physical body and also the subtle body. The moment they run outside, their search is happiness. Without emotional dependence, they cannot experience pleasure. Do you see that? Without emotional dependence, I cannot experience any kind of pleasure. I like pasta. It's an emotional dependence. And so hence there is a pleasure without delusion. Understand this clearly that without emotional dependence, without emotion delusion, outside in the world, I cannot experience any pleasure in the world. Give me any example. Not possible. To experience pleasure outside is not possible. The subtle body must have an emotional dependence. You are my honey, I love you. Then only, you are happy. Do you see that? In delusion, we keep trying. In delusion, we keep trying. We get a short-term pleasure, we keep trying. And when we keep trying, we fail miserably. That we do not accept it. That is why we say, you are my honey today. And then, what I used to say, soulmate and soulmate, and then I marry, and then I remarry, and then I divorce. I divorced to be happy. I marry to be happy. I eat pasta to be happy. I rejected pasta to be happy. These trying all the time causes the impulse, instinct, and habit in the mind, which is subtle body. It is an internal, internally, I may rationalize, but internally, oh, that ignorance is continuing. I'm enjoying because I have wealth, because I am enjoying because I have resources. Power, which is again the subtle body, created a false I. I'll explain this in a different way also. Another point that we should understand, we can only stop this cycle of pleasure and pain when we stop the sense organs, the mind, we step back, we witness what is happening, we have allowed the intellect to work, and now that intellect will hasten the process of evolution here and now. But it happens to the rare people. No, we all are rare people, that's why it's happening to us. We all are rare. It happens to these rare people. And they are known as seekers. Because every moment, every event brings some kind of pleasure in daily living. So we remain aware of that. That will hasten the process of evolution. Subtle body says, I'm enjoying, which is very near to us, what you are. And then we want to find the real self, not possible. Now, why the master compared it to the worms? Now I'm coming to the filthy riches. Uh, in fact, my mind went back to this verse when I saw those people who were catching the worms at the same time. They were also careful the water level should not rise, because if the water level rise, they have to get out of that mud. They have to stop catching the worms. Otherwise, they may drown. They may drown themselves. It rises, from 2 feet to 4 feet and 6 feet. We don't get out of that. Whether it is a 2 feet of delusion or 4 feet of delusion or 6 feet of delusion. That thought came to my mind. So I said, no, I will pick up this. Understand this clear? So these worm catchers or the hunters should be careful in places where the mud is, the water and the mud. To dig, take out the worms, they need to be careful of the tide of the water. It can rise to 4, 5, 6 feet and they have to get out of it. Otherwise, they will drown. I'm enjoying pleasure. It is mud. I'm still in repeating the pleasure. I am not aware whether the water level rises in the mind. I'm stuck to it. Whirlpool, the vortex, in the river near the mud, the whirlpool that is coming. They are extremely aware and alert and they get out of it. We don't get out of it. We don't get out. One guy was asking me that once you are awakened, what about your sexual pleasure? First, reach there, then talk about this. Are you making yourself fool? Now, understand that process. I was watching carefully the worms that happen to slip into the flowing river have a very cruel destiny. Once they lose the safe foothold of the ground, they are gone forever into the watery grave. For the period they still survive, I'm enjoying a pleasure. I'm enjoying a pleasure. I'm repeating it, and I feel I will survive next time for the same pleasure. For the period these worms still survive, they move helplessly from one water current to another. We move from one pleasure to the other. There is no hope of ever being rescued. Why? Because I'm moving from one pleasure to the other. But I don't realize it. The first danger is, of course, the fish that are just waiting eagerly. This is what the master has written. Long back, 3,000 years. The first danger is, of course, the fish that are just waiting eagerly for this free bait without any hook on it. Compare. The worm survives this danger. It is only a matter of time when it gets caught into another water current. Now it loses all the self-will of movement and revolves endlessly. I'm getting one pleasure, second pleasure, third pleasure. I lose everything. Now only the pleasure in my life from outside is the only goal of my life. So I have to earn more and more. Now go. See the whirlpool current? We are like the worm seeking security in the pleasures of the world. This is what the master has written. I'm not saying that we are worms, he is saying, so blame him. So he said the individual consciousness supported by the ego, which we say individual consciousness, is nothing but we are living like a worms. And you pay attention to it today, 24/7. How many thoughts that comes pertains to the pleasure and pain? And you will see the cycle continues. Mind will say, just after this session, let me have a cup of coffee. Do you see that? Mind triggers some impression. I will talk to the honey why she or he said this. Unnecessary, unwanted, not required. And then he comes with a solution. The worms cannot be taught because they do not have three bodies: physical, subtle, and the causal body. He said, I have criticized a lot, but now understand only because of these three bodies, as a human being, you can become a seeker, and the seeker can succeed in this journey of accelerating the evolution. Because I understand from the subtle body. But my physical body should be highly developed. It should have a vertical spine. So nature has given us. You did not choose to have a vertical spine. Everything is perfectly given to us to be a seeker. Are we a seeker? So their master ends with the two verses. Like the worms, like a human being. The worms does not have the three bodies fully developed. They are still, it will, it will, they will need another billions of years. One day they will also become a human being. And by luck or by chance, you find a weird guy who is also talking the same thing. It's by chance, We didn't know each other. We did not decide, but we will discuss about that chance. He also talks about that chance. We don't say Big Bang Theory by chance. No. We give a clear explanations of every aspect, whatever we talk. Let us see what happens. Eyes are closed. We only get to